true. We stockpile our supplies, 'cause that's just what we do. Building up our skills to weather any storm. In this simple life, it's where our hearts stay warm. Welcome to the show, where knowledge is our guide. Prepping for tomorrow with every stride. Taking care of family, friends and neighbors too. Trusting country wisdom, let it see you through.
Travel Technician Podcast. I'm your host, Greg, and this is the place that we dive into the strategies, skills, and mindset needed to survive and thrive in unpredictable situations. Whether you're looking into getting ready for the next storm, going off-grid, or just trying to build a more resilient life, you're in the right place. So today we're going to talk about kind of a summary of a variety of things that we've done in past episodes on this and TikTok and YouTube and that sort of stuff, kind of bringing a few of the things together. First of all, why preparedness begins with skills and not gear. Now, we can get all sorts of gear. Anybody can buy gear. Getting yourself to be part of the gear is very important. So if you're building a mindset where you are becoming the survival gear, then that's something you can take with you always wherever you're at. Knowledge is something, as long as you practice it, sharpen it, and hone it just like a good knife or an axe, you will have it available to you every time you're out and about. Every time you are in a situation, whether you have the other tools or not, you have the tools of knowledge. So that's why that's very important to us in the prepper community. Because the more you know, the more you know. Yeah, I really hate the weird sayings like that, but they help you remember stuff. The phrase is a meaningless tautology, things that are circular and don't say anything. But they do say something that make somewhere in your mind a little anchor spot where you can remember what is actually important. Now, secondly, you need strategies for building a preparedness routine. Now, routines are important when you leave the house. And this is what everybody does. And the thing is, people think about preppers, and they think about the extreme incidents where a prepper is someone who has all sorts of ammunition and stored foods and freeze-dried things and a getaway bunker and bug-out bags. Okay. Those paradigms are there because of a reason. There's a lot of truth to that, but being a prepper doesn't start there. It starts way back before that. Being a prepper is something that you do every day. When you leave the house, you go through this preparedness for events mindset. Are the doors locked for security and safety? Did you turn off the pot that's on the stove? Did you turn off the fans and heaters if you need to? Did you make sure that everything is prepared, secured, and ready for you to come home safely to a place that has not been in any way changed or damaged? Okay? The preparedness routine goes beyond that into the car that you drive to work in. Do you have a jack and a spare? That's the basic minimum every car should have. I think you should go beyond that and have a preparedness kit, a first aid kit in the car, a blanket if you get caught in the cold, possibly a couple of protein bars and some water. Because if you are stranded somewhere waiting for somebody, it may be a while. And beyond that, any sort of extra survival gear that might be useful to you in those situations. If you're in the city, a Silcock key is an important thing to have with you. If you need to get water, and I'm not recommending going to buildings, unlocking things, and stealing water. I'm saying it's a tool in the event of. I'm not advocating going off the road into the forest on somebody else's property, cutting down a tree and starting a fire. But if it's snowy, I think they'll understand. So an axe in the car might be a good thing too. Prepare for your environment and those things. Now, think about the rule of threes. We've always considered the rule of threes as a basic underlying structure of preparedness. You can go 3 minutes without air, brain starts being damaged. 3 hours without shelter before hyperthermia or hypothermia. Either one can kill you and start affecting you in a critical and permanent way within that 3 hours. You can go 3 days without water, but I guarantee that you're not going to really enjoy that. You actually start getting the symptoms of dehydration as far as poor decision making and everything after a day to a day and a half. Look at those people who never drink water. They make poor decisions. I'm not talking about just your office mates. We got to have a little levity here, right? So the next 3 is 3 weeks without food. Your starvation will get you at that point. And there's no hard and fast rule. It's like, okay, it's almost 12, it's been 21 days, and there, I have to die now. No, it's a rough guesstimate because everybody's physiology is different. Some people won't last that 3 weeks. Some people will last a little bit longer. So, rule of threes is an important thing. And amongst all of this, the next thing, your mindset. It's what helps you stay alive. How positive are you? When you have a challenge in life, you look at it positively and say, all right, let's see what I'm going to learn here. How can I get through this? What am I going to get out of this that's good? Instead of, oh no, not again. So your mindset is very important, and you need to stop and think things out. If you get frozen, mind freeze because of drama, the adrenaline rush, or anything of that nature, you're likely to make very poor decisions that could be fatal decisions. So stop what you're doing and think about it. Think about your next move. Plan it out. Use logic and reasoning. Don't let fear push you. Observe your surroundings, make a plan, and act on it. And in one of our previous sessions, we talked about the OODA loop. This is the OODA loop. Okay, observe, orient, decide, act, and it's a loop. So you just continue. After the A, you go back to the O. But we'll have another discussion about that at some point, I'm sure. So mindset, very important, keeps you alive. Now, these are some of the basic cores of what we do. And every once in a while, I actually get communication back from you guys, and I love it. I really do. So we're going to highlight a listener success story. I don't know if I have permission to say like the actual person's name, but I'm just going to use first name, so they know that I'm talking about them. But I'm not going to give something where they can be like publicly announced. But this is from Cindy. They're in Utah. Pardon me, but they have an environment. This is a few months old, or more than a few months. This is from this last winter, and we've been doing this for a while, and we've been putting out information to educate people. And I'm just going to read what Cindy said in her email here. She emailed me last year about how she and her family got caught in a snowstorm. No, I'm not going to, she gives specifics. I'm not going to read, I'm going to paraphrase this? It's like 2 French fries? Paraphrase. I'm going to use that. Okay, so Cindy said that they were caught in a sudden snowstorm while they were on a camping trip. The weather just changed suddenly, and they got caught out for a little bit until they could get out of there. And thanks to the emergency kit that they built from our 72-hour bag episode, I believe that was a podcast of 2 years ago, and the wilderness first aid kit that they took last year, they were able to stay calm, get the proper shelter, signal for help. Everyone made it out safely. Now, that sort of thing, that's exactly why we do this, because education and making people's lives better is the goal. As far as monetizing this, somewhere around here, on some of this, I've got a link for Buy Me a Coffee and that sort of stuff. That's great, because the more I get supported by this, the more I get to do these things. So definitely, I really appreciate your help, but I'm not here begging for your money. I'm here to educate, whether you find it useful or not. Hopefully you will, but I know from the feedback that I get that somebody will. So there's that. And also, I've got so I listed down, I'm going to put in a Q&A section here and not just ramble. Although I am rambling, aren't I? 2 fries. So here's a question. How much food should I store for my family of 4, and where should I keep it? Okay, and this is from, we're just going to stick with first names. This is from Jake, okay? Jake, I recommend starting with 1 month of non-perishable food. Now, I can't tell you that exact amount. Take a look at what you're eating now, what the calorie intake is for each of your people. Because some of you are going to be bigger and more active, some of you are going to be smaller. So the calorie intake is going to be different. But take a look at what you're eating now per month. And perishable and non-perishable. But take a look at the calories that you're ingesting. And take a look at what you're supposed to be able to get by on. Because we're preparing for survival events, but we should also be preparing for just extension of daily life. So ideally, save enough food to eat the way you're eating now for a month. And so if one person requires 2,200 calories a day, multiply that times 30, that's your month. And then you got 4 people, find out what each of their requirements are, multiply it, and store that. Okay, now as for storage, keep it in a cool, dry space, and focus on foods with long shelf lives, like rice and bean and vegetables, freeze-dried meats. And by vegetables, I mean those vegetables you would traditionally find in a root cellar, i.e. roots. Other things would be good too. Canned items, that's anything that has a really long shelf life, because it's a month of food in there. You don't want to have to go down every month and just roll it over. So try to plan on food that will last you 6 months or longer. And that way you don't have to rotate it out as much. You can just rotate off of the front and let the dates roll forward. Okay, so if space is tight and you don't have like a dried storage or a cellar or something like that, get creative. Store it under beds, under furniture, closets, any place that's not normally used. Okay, so here's another question. This is from a Sarah, maybe the Sarah, I don't know. What's the best way to protect documents in an emergency? Okay. So a waterproof and fireproof document bag is your friend, because you could get a fire safe. That's good, but it's harder to drag around and move around in the event of moving or a need to suddenly evacuate an area. This is one of those important things that you might want to pick up and take with you if you see, okay, there's a fire in the house, we have to get out. And picking up the fire safe is not as easy when you have you grabbed a toddler by the scruff of the neck and you get your document envelope, and there you go. The safe might be a little bit more encumbered than you want to be at that point. Okay, so you want to store passports, insurance papers, medical records, those sort of things, and ideally keep digital backups of those, just so you have proof of it. Take pictures, put them on a thumb drive. Thumb drives are important, and everybody can keep a thumb drive with them. Lanyards around the neck. I keep thumb drives on a regular basis, but I'm in tech, so that's my jewelry. So that's where we're going to wrap it up. We've gone over some core values. We've heard from some of the people. I love being able to include your comments in here, and if I have your permission or things tossed in like that, I'll do it right here on the air, as it were, and we'll get you out here and discuss things that you bring up. Because if you're bringing me the content you want to hear, then I know this is of value to you. So I appreciate everything that you do. Stay prepared, stay safe, and I will see you later.